Have you ever been exploring Left 4 Dead and come across a place that you think is a little bit out of place, or maybe that it's weird or unsettling? Well, in today's video, we're going to be looking at some weird and unsettling places in Left 4 Dead 2. This is my second video, as you guys really enjoyed the first one, so just like before, credit for the idea goes to Annie Austin. Make sure you guys leave comments down below. If we can, I want to try to get to 1,000 likes. I've never heard it before. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. But without further ado, let's get straight into the weird and unsettling places in Left 4 Dead 2. So for the first strange and mysterious place, I wanted to come to the Tunnel of Love, and this location was actually suggested by a user in the comments from the previous video. So just like this one, if you guys want to see your places shown in these videos, don't be afraid, leave a comment down below and I'll definitely check them out. As for this place, we have to follow through with the Tunnel of Love, and it's one of these back alleys. So let me go ahead and find it. So as you follow the Tunnel of Love, you'll come across the main path, which is this Tunnel of Love maintenance room. But if you ignore that and you walk down here, you'll see that there are a bunch of boats boarded up against this fence, and you can't actually get behind here normally, even if you try to parkour. Just like the last video, we got no clip. Alright, so once you get your way behind the fence, you can actually follow this completely made path that turns around and comes over here. And the first thing I noticed was this gap in the map that I don't think you can actually get through without no clip, but it allows me to see all the way around, and it's really strange. You can see that there's some 2D little sprite over there for trees. I don't really know what you want to call it, some like background art. And as you look over here, they have this safe room decal, which makes me think that this board was once an original design for a safe room. And it's interesting because why would they put this decal here if they had no plans to do anything with it? Another thought could be that they were originally going to make two paths to the safe room and actually allow the survivors to choose one or the other. But I'm guessing they might have ran out of time, or maybe they just didn't think it was worth it and they ended up cutting it. But they left these interesting artifacts in this tunnel. It looks like they just put a board here, and I think that if we no clip out of here, you can see that there's nothing actually behind the board. The board's right here. There's no room. There's no like secret entrance way. So I'm guessing that they might have tried to make a way, and like I said earlier, just ended up blocking it up because they didn't have enough time. But I find it strange because if they went through the effort of boarding this up, why did they leave this weird hole in the map? Like, this is just completely visible. Once again, I want to thank that user for suggesting this place, and let's go to the next one. So for the next strange and mysterious place, I wanted to come to Death Toll, and we're not actually at the place right now, but I want you to remember beyond this fence what this looks like. How there's a straight road, there's a car here, there's all this sort of detailing, there's hillsides, there's trees, there's lampposts, there's electric cables, and this one was also suggested by a user. I'll put them on screen right now. I don't want to butcher their name, but here's the user. And the reason I have to come back here is because once we go forward in the map to actually check the real area out, this entire place was cut. They didn't copy and paste these details into the other map. They just straight up took it out. So let's make our way and go there now. So as we make our way a little bit through the third level on Death Toll, the user said to follow the road. As we find the crash bus, if you turn right, there's this path that goes for a decently long distance. And if you follow it down here, you realize that that area we were just looking at is what we're looking at now. except there's no detail whatsoever, and the path doesn't allow us to go forward. But unfortunately, so once we make our way on the other side of the fence, I put myself in God mode so I shouldn't die, but the user said that this path leads to the campaign Last Stand, which is interesting because as I showed you guys, there was a road here originally that like went off into this direction, but in this version of the map that can't make sense because there's a road that you actually follow in the original map that goes behind in that direction. So when we no clip, you can see that on the previous map the road went right through this area, and you can tell this is the right area because of the shape of the building and the design. And we were standing about right here, and the safe room was like right there. And we looked off into this direction and we saw the road going straight back, right? But that can't be possible because the entire other map is right here. We saw the road go way through this point. I mean, Left 4 Dead is a level by level based game, and sometimes devs create a level at each time without thinking about the level that comes after it. And while that's normal in game development, what isn't normal is like giant miscalculations like this. And Left 4 Dead is kind of full of these, which I find very interesting. But in this area back here, you can see absolutely nothing. You know, you can come up to that fence and you can gaze back here, but all you see is like genuinely nothing. You can look around. There's a light post here. And you can even come back and you can see behind the map. It's pretty interesting. And I didn't even notice this before, but there's a knife here. That's interesting. The user didn't say anything about this in their comment, but that's cool. Wow. I wonder if this knife is special or anything. It seems that this was just a knife sitting here in the back of the map, floating for no one to grab. And it's interesting because when I think about it, I might have genuinely been the first person to ever pick up this knife. And when you put it into perspective like that, it makes this back rooms area kinda creepy. I like how the map works. It's interesting. You know, you can have an entire full face of an object and just nothing. But I thank the viewer for the suggestion, and let's get into the next strange and mysterious place. So for the next strange and mysterious place, I'm gonna bring you guys in the actually same exact map. So we have a two-piece, just like last time. But if you make your way through the map, right before the church sequence where you knock on the door and the guy betrays you by ringing the bell, if you come to the right side of the graveyard, you'll see this welcome to hell sign and these bodies and these cars. But what I'm interested in is what's behind this, because Valve does this a lot where the maps are right next to each other because of the way that the safe room teleportation mechanism works. So you get to see bits and pieces of a unfinished part of the next map. So as we no clip our way through the wall, this is one I actually found myself. And we got some trees over here. There's some hillsides. And like I said, this is part of the next map. And they actually put some pretty good detailings back here for this being outside of the map. But as we make our way back here, you can see the church area that you eventually come through. I don't know if I can actually make my way over there. I think there's a visible barrier here. But I can actually jump on this. I can play around with this. There's a fence here. And if you compare this version of this unfinished part of this second area, you'll actually notice that in the next area, there's like a hole in the wall here that you make your way through. And it's not present in this version of it. And this truck here is in a completely different position in the next version of the map. And you know, this makes sense. There's a bunch of these empty areas just to add a little bit of immersion as you look off the side of the map. As you can see, this road design, this black asphalt eroded away into the soil, it comes to a point and then it just stops. And then all of a sudden it's just a straight line with perfect city paved road with sidewalk next to it. And then you got this blurry base plate that I don't even know the resolution of. It's so damn blurry. There's light posts here. There's even fully detailed signs. Cold drinks, ice deli, quick buy, closed until further notice due to sickness. You know, that's pretty interesting. I don't know at any time I've ever seen a sign like this. It's probably going to be in the next version of what this place is supposed to be. But that's interesting. Actually makes a lore implication. There's some street lights that, funnily enough, are actually on. Are these ones? Those ones are on too. And there's a bunch of gaps in the map, and this makes sense. We are out of bounds. So that's not too weird to see when you know, we can literally look off the side of the map over here. But there's a full building here with a door, I say very lightly, with stone block that has one face missing that we can jump on, but we can't actually open the door. But we can kind of look through and see that there's not really anything in there. But there's kind of just this empty place. And you're not really going to see a building like this, you know? Like, there's no point in the map where you get high enough that you could peer at the building here. So genuinely, if you never no-clipped through the map, you would never see this building. And there's another building over here with a similar design, albeit it's much thicker. It's a little bit shorter. But we can't open this door. And this design up here just abruptly stops. The roof also just abruptly stops for some reason. Like I said, we are outside of the map, so it's not too weird. And this car that I find very strange, that if you look through the windows, you can see the entire interior of the car. There's some tires here. It seems to me like the windows have this weird distorted effect, like they didn't add glass or something. And look through the back here, see the bottom of the car. There's another building here with a blacked out door and a streak that you can actually come behind. And I thought you could go into it, but I guess you can't. But you can go around it. And once again, this place is pretty strange. When I think about it, the only reason why this place would be here is for you to peer at it from behind this gate right here. But because this gate is already so boarded off, there'd be no reason to include any of this. Like, I believe in the map after this, there's some sort of roadblock or something that's in this area right here that stops you from going back into the map. So I'm wondering, why didn't they just put that here instead of making this entire area? My thought process is maybe that they wanted to make the map a little bit bigger, and maybe they wanted the safe room to be in one of these buildings, but they ended up settling for the church. But with this area done, let's move on to the next strange and mysterious place. Now for the next strange and mysterious place, I want to bring you guys to the parish, but as you make your way halfway through the cemetery, I believe it's called, you'll make your way to this crashed helicopter. And a lot of people actually know about this place. It's not too hidden, but if you come up to this helicopter with any of the characters, you can actually get a voice line.
Zombies didn't take down this helicopter.
But you can see that this helicopter is actually pretty detailed. I mean, you're meant to look at it if there's a voice line for it. But it's on fire. It's all broken down. There's a decal on the side. The front is just completely destroyed. There's sparks coming off of it. And one of my big questions about this entire area was always, how did people take down this helicopter? Because like I said, you know, the characters comment on this helicopter not being taken down by zombies. I'm thinking, how did they know that? Because, you know, I'm not the biggest helicopter expert, but like, just from looking at this, I would assume, if the characters didn't say anything, that maybe survivors got on board and maybe someone was infected, and then the helicopter just went down because of that. But we know that not to be the case. So honestly, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm interested. There's kind of just like holes everywhere that you can straight up just see by looking off the map. They didn't put an overtly big amount of effort into hiding it. One of these fan blades have actually lit this section on fire, and it's actively burning the wood. you can see that there's a different particle effects here. And you can see some of the helicopter has crashed into this house and is now burning down this bit of rubble with the same kind of fire effects. So that's it for this area. Let's make it on to the final area for the video. Now for the final area in the video, I wanted to come to Sugar Mill B, and this place is right next to the safe room, but it's actually behind this bus. And normally this place is cut off by this bus, but as y'all know, I have my favorite tool. Alright, bro. As you come along here, once again, you're not meant to be out here. You're never really gonna see this outside area. There's no point. But it's just these mysterious and unsettling places that really attract me. See what I did there? But another thing that's interesting for those of you who are Advent Left 4 Dead players is that this whole back area here is actually a survival portion. This map was manipulated for survival specifically. And in survival, you can come back here, there's loot back here, and you can kind of like set up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's even a ladder back here in survival that allows you to get onto the roof. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. But as we come back to the area that we're looking at, there's puddles out here, and what I find very strange is that they went through the effort of putting all this water out here. It's a little bit weird because you can see that there's a lot of straight edges. It's kind of hard to see. You kind of got to get the right angle. But you see there's almost like an obtuse angle right there. And on that one right there too, right there. You can see that there's very sharp edges. Over here too, the water's not smoothly put around the terrain. It's sort of just slid into there. And the whole backside of the map looks interesting. The way that they make these sort of walls, it's like a kind of like a semicircle, just blockade sort of thing. And what's weird too is from this angle, I just noticed this, but you can't actually see these sprites here. There's full on trees. You come over here, you know, this adds to the map. This makes it look very foresty. But as soon as you break that illusion, that's what makes this place weird and unsettling. And you can go back and back and back in this whole area for a very long time. And there's even water out here. In video games, for those of you who don't know, water isn't usually placed like segment by segment. It's usually one giant like square of water that they put under the map and they slide at a lower elevation to create the illusion that there's like a puddle or something like that, because water collects at the lowest point, right? So it makes sense that they didn't necessarily put the water here themselves, that this is kind of overflow from this water, but it's interesting how it kind of like formed the river here. And once again, you can peer off the map and you can see this area up here. And if you get in this elevator, I'm guessing you can actually, if you jump high enough, when you get all the way up here in the elevator, you can kind of peek off into this area, but they did a pretty good job at hiding it. I mean, this map is very rainy, so it's already hard to see. Plus the fact that storms can spawn makes visibility even lower. They put a lot of effort into these places that didn't necessarily need to have any effort in. But that's going to be it for today's video. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I tried to make it a little longer, but I have to cut like large portions out, you know, so it flows well. I really appreciate all your guys' support on the previous video. You know, making videos is hard when you're in college, and I really try to make good content, and it seems like you guys really enjoyed this series. So once again, please leave comments down below suggesting places. And thank you guys so much for commenting. Thank you so much for liking. If you have any places, once again, let me know. I'm gonna check them out in a future video. If we can, I think it'd be cool to hit 1,000 likes. I know that's a big ask. I've never hit 1,000 before. Thank you guys so much for watching. Credit goes to Any Austin. Have a nice rest of your day. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.